Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Ask Mary Anything Within Reason. I hope you all can hear me. I am solo tonight, so it kind of feels like doing this without a net. Anyway, last week was a very, very long week, so let's hope that this week is not as stressful. And let us start getting to your questions. Again, I'm solo, so I apologize in advance if things are a little disjointed, but I'm going to do my best. All right. Let's go, shall we? From Sheila. Question. Mary, can you please look into Scott Ritter? He seems to be an expert on Putin. He claims that it is Western propaganda that promotes Putin's bad image. Well, that's interesting. Again, not a Russia expert. I do not know who Scott Ritter is. That having been said, if you guys want to know more about the way the West over the last few decades has essentially helped, I mean, not intentionally, I wouldn't say it was propaganda, but has essentially helped inadvertently Putin create this myth about himself, that he is invulnerable in some way, or that he's more powerful than he really is. I highly recommend you read Alex Vindman's book, The Folly of Realism. It came out earlier this year. I actually did a Substack live with Alex when his book came out to talk about it. It's an excellent book. He's a great guy, and it's a really good book. And it really helped me understand more clearly why it is that Putin has managed somehow to remain relevant, and in part it's because both Republican and Democratic administrations in this country have failed spectacularly to handle him, which is something that easily could have been done. But I will absolutely look into Scott Ritter and see what he has to say about all of this. Motley, hello. Question. Did you know that Robert Kennedy was an actor? He played the character of Davros in Doctor Who. I did not know this. I'm having trouble believing it, but I'm not saying you're lying. It's just so weird to me. Also, I never watched Doctor Who. A lot of people seem to be really into it, and it's just something I missed for whatever reason. Jeez. So Kennedy went from being an actor to being a total sociopath. Awesome. I wish he were still acting. Regina. Comment/question. I predict that as Donald's health declines, he'll be more erratic and easily swayed by the last person you talk to. Fox, the worst of his junk drawer. What do you think, Mary? Yes, I think he will become more erratic, certainly, but also more violent and aggressive. And yes, more susceptible than ever. But we're also, as he becomes more, as he deteriorates more, you're also going to see the number of people who have direct access to him shrinking as people start jockeying for position. So, yeah. Philip, question. Mary, have you watched Andor in the Star Wars film Rogue One? If so, what do you think about its theme that sometimes good people do morally questionable things? I like Star Wars. I am not a Star Wars completist. So I have not yet watched Andor, although I will. I plan to. I really liked particularly the first season of The Mandalorian. And but what was the other one? I don't remember. There's so many. My goodness. And I don't know that I don't think I saw Rogue One. I think the last Star Wars movie I saw was a long time ago. It's probably about 10 years ago. So, listen, I think my issue with Star Wars, it's not really an issue. It's just the reason I prefer Star Trek to Star Wars is because Star Wars is a kind of classic good versus evil, black and white, fighting wars, etc. And which is fine. I mean, it's amazing. The first Star Wars movie came out when I was 12, and it was a total revelation. The world building, the character development, it's all incredible, but definitely more into the Star Trek ethos. That having been said, I can't really speak to the degree to which Andor and Rogue One dealt with the issue of good people doing morally questionable things, but I think it's kind of it's sort of missing the point of being human if we don't if that is not something that we just take for granted, just as even terrible people can on occasion do good things, because we are very complex organisms, aren't we? But I will check out Andor, and I may have seen Rogue. I don't know. Again, there's so many Star Trek and Star Wars iterations. It is definitely hard to keep up. Susan, question. Hi, Mary. Hello. 9 Democrats in the Senate voted with Republicans to avoid a government shutdown through September 30th, 2025. Do you agree? This time they must shut down the government. Sorry. Do you agree this time they must shut the government down if it's not in our favor? Yeah, I agree. I believe that the first time. And as far as I'm aware, it was 10 Democrats. I think all of them need to be primaried. Both of my senators from New York voted with Republicans. I was fucking horrified. It was a massive, massive mistake. It showed, in my view, spectacularly poor judgment for several reasons. One, a shutdown would have been much less harmful in the long term than siding with the Republicans and allowing the Trump regime to continue to run unfettered from destroying our country. Also, the biggest union of federal employees was begging Democrats, begging them not to keep the government open by giving Republicans what they wanted. So there's that. And the other thing is more basic and more philosophical. Never make common cause with fascists, ever, even if it's for the right reason, right? You just don't ever give them your support. Don't ever give them a win, ever. Even if it's something you agree with and want. Why? Well, because that normalizes them. It makes it easier for them to do horrible things. Because they can say, hey, even the Democrats think we're not so bad. There has to be. If the Republicans don't do exactly, let me put it another way. Democrats cannot be negotiating about this at all. Because it's the other thing that drives me crazy. The rationale is that the Democrats would have gotten blamed for the shutdown. The Republicans control everything. In what universe could the Democrats possibly be responsible? But, Chuck Schumer is a deeply weak, compromised man, in my view. Phoebe, thank you so very much, Phoebe. That's awesome. Hang on one second. I'll get right back to it. Okay. Sorry, Phoebe. Question. With Donald being a cheater, liar, and bully, how is this going to affect our children? Will they think it's okay to emulate that type of behavior? Well, I think that's what we're seeing, right? Donald has given people permission to be their worst selves, to be cruel, petty, bullies, bigots, and it is going to have Because think about what presidential behavior. The presidential behavior is whatever the president is doing. So if the president swears, if the president's a misogynist and a racist, if the president thinks that the best use of his time is in defending, naming our forts after Confederate generals, if the president grifts off of the government to the tune of billions of dollars, okay, I guess that's presidential behavior. Is that what we want our children to aspire to? Maybe. Phoebe, again, question: With Donald coming down hard on some of the mainstream networks, do you fear he will try to shut down independent media like Maritime Media? Has he threatened you regarding this? Look, I don't put anything past them. I don't. I don't. So sure, we have to worry. But that would take a particular kind of attention, and they do have bigger things going on. Also, by the way, I mean, just this is totally factual and on the public record, and I will say nothing more than this. Donald, my uncle, is suing me for $100 million, and he has been for 3 years. So, make of that what you will. Paul, question: Can you, Trump Organization, and Trump's family be prosecuted for moral turpitude? I'm not sure why I would be. But no, I don't. You see, this is the thing that's absolutely terrible. You can't sue people for being terrible people. You can't sue them for having moral turpitude or being amoral or being mean, or you just can't. Oh well. If only that were the case. Broken all broken. Question. Hi, Mary. Hello. What started you on your martial arts journey, and what drew you to the art you ended up pursuing? How weird is this? Okay, so Donald hired me to write I think it was his second book. I don't remember. It was a really long time ago. It was in the early 90s. And as part of that, for research purposes, I traveled to places where he had businesses or was developing businesses. So I went to Las Vegas because he was thinking of building something out there. I went to Mar-a-Lago because he had just bought that. I went to Atlantic City to interview people who worked at his casinos. And during one of those, I don't remember which one I stayed at. I was down there a few times. So I stayed at the Taj Mahal or one of them. And whichever one I was staying at, I interviewed the presidents of the casino, the guys running each casino. And one of them was really into Taekwondo. And every day in one of the rooms in the gym, he had Taekwondo classes for anybody who worked there. And it's like, hey, why don't you come check it out? And I did. And I absolutely loved it. And then he knew, I don't remember whether he knew somebody, recommended somebody, but he referred me to a Taekwondo school. I lived in Manhattan at the time, but the school was on Long Island. And I went, and I took to it immediately. I'm pretty sure I could have found a place in Manhattan, but for whatever reason, I ended up going to the school on Long Island, and it just became my favorite thing to do. And I got my first degree black belt within 3 years, 3.5 years, something like that. And then got my second degree black belt, maybe 2 or 3 years after that. Not really sure, but I trained like a maniac. I loved it so much. It's honestly, if you're looking to whip yourself into shape quickly, take up a martial art. It's incredible. And the discipline, and not just the discipline, but the confidence. Like, I started walking differently. It's just like, I felt like nobody would ever mess with me because of how I walked, because I felt so confident in my ability to protect myself. So thank you for that question. Phoebe, again, thank you so much. Question: If they ever did a lobotomy on Donald, what do you think would come out? hot air or green radioactive slime? I don't want to speculate about such things. Let's hope it doesn't come to this. Mina Cheryl, thank you as always. Question: what do you think of Deanna Troy? I think Deanna Troy is awesome, and I honestly, I wish that her character had been treated better, but no, I think the character of Deanna Troy remains an excellent character. I think her arc, her evolution as a character was really something. Her relationship with her mother, her relationship with Riker. I thought, I think Marina Sirtis is amazing. And she'd actually exchanged some DMs on Twitter a few years ago before Twitter became a fascist hellscape. And I thought her performance forgive me, I'm bad at remembering these things. Deanna Troy, Will Riker are in one episode of, I think it's Picard season 1. Might be Picard season. Either way, forgive me. And it might be Picard season 3. But her performance in that episode is just unbelievable. So it was great to see her back. Both of them, actually. So yeah, Deanna Troy. And I also just it's so Star Trek, right? That one of the most important characters is a psychologist, somebody giving the crew therapy and helping them work through their issues. Like, I love that. Like, that's so Star Trek. Minus share for gifting 1 maritime media membership. Hang on 1 second. Okay. Pipe peanut butter, I think. Canada is in the house. Elbows up, everybody. Question: why is Donald hostile to Canada? What have Canadians done to him? Oh, you don't need to have done anything. His hatreds are vast and mysterious, even to him. Who knows? Like, seriously, who knows? I don't know. I'm maybe because he threatened Canada with tariffs, and tariffs said, "Bring it on." I'm sorry, and Canada said, "Bring it on." I don't know. It is weird. I have to confess. It makes no sense whatsoever. Probably some Canadian person just said something mean to him. TJ is a member for 2 months. Thank you. Comment, happy to catch you live. Love you and your work. Well, thank you so much, DJ, and welcome. Ghostly Air 59, thank you very, very much. Comment, trying hard not to fangirl fee. Okay, cool. That should be easy. Hi, Mary. The bloopers in Trump Trail Trump were epic. Yeah, well, your laugh is now permanently living rent free in my head. You nailed the ending. If you weren't already my fan, you definitely are now. Well, thank you. I mean, listen, if all it takes is my acting totally unprofessional and laughing uncontrollably, cool. I can do that all day long. But I'm telling you, our team member who puts together Trump Trolls Trump, how can I not laugh uncontrollably? Like, seriously. We have so much fun doing that. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad, sometimes obviously I want to be a little judicious about what we leave in, but then sometimes I think, it's okay. It's okay to laugh. We need to be doing more of that. Denissa, thank you so very much for that comment. Quote, Saturday night, I was downtown working for the FBI, unquote, fee. I don't get the reference. I apologize. I don't know, but hopefully somebody will enlighten me. Lizzie Beth, thank you so much. As always, question: is your uncle's issue with solar power for homeowners or just for big industrial and utility installations? His problem with anything that cuts into the profits of the people who own him. Big oil, gas, stuff like that. I don't know. His issue is with anything that takes money in his view, out of his pocket. Because money is literally the only thing he cares about. Well, actually, that would have been my grandfather. Donald cares about other things, but he believes that one of the only things that makes him worth anything, literally and metaphorically speaking, is how much money he has. So therefore, it's very important to him to have a lot of it, which is why he has to steal it from other people, including people he may or may not be related to. Donna, thank you so very, very much, as always. Question. Hi, Mary. How are you doing today? I just wanted to say that you were awesome on Legal AF. I watched the segment last evening. Well, thank you, Donna. That was a really cool interview. For those of you who don't know, I'm fine, by the way. I'm tired. It's just been it's kind of relentless, but you all know that. I don't need to tell you. Also, yesterday I was on the Upper East Side, which is somewhere I don't typically go because I live downtown, and it was a nice day. It was a little on the hot side, but it was a nice summer day. And I was walking somewhere. I had about a 10, 15 block walk ahead of me. And, I'd heard that there was going to be a thunderstorm, but I thought it was going to be later in the day. This was about 3 o'clock ish. And I was still about 10 blocks from where I was going. And the expression, the skies opened up. Oh, my word. Pouring wind, thunder, lightning. Like it literally felt like somebody was pouring buckets of water over my head. I was absolutely drenched. So I ran to the subway, which was blocks and blocks away. It was incredible. I love stuff like that, but it was a little exhausting. So I'm a little sleepy today, but other than that, fine. As for Legal AF, I actually was asked to do that. I'm so sorry. Hang on a sec. Turns out Sidney Blumenthal, one of the co-hosts, who's a great guy, writes for The Guardian, is friends with my very dear friend, E. Jean Carroll, and he asked her to ask me if I would be on their show. So, of course, I said yes, and he and Sean did such a great job. The questions were incredible. It was a really good conversation, so I was so happy to do it. So thank you for watching, first of all, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Arizona, thank you very, very much. Awesome. Lori is a super sticker. Thank you, Lori. That's great. Pipe peanut butter. Question. Why is Donald so hostile to... Oh, sorry. Not sure why that happened. Colin, question. How deeply do you think South Park is getting under Donald's skin? Very deeply. Yeah, because it's not hard to get under his skin because the skin is very thin. But also, yeah, he pays attention to this stuff. He doesn't really do much else. He just pays attention to the good things people are saying about him, the bad things people are saying about him. And how do you know it's getting under his skin? He's like thirstier, right? He talks more about himself in the third person. He talks about how great he is and how great the things he's done are. He does very stupid things like show up to the men's final of the US Open in New York City where we all hate his guts and he gets booed during the national anthem. That was fun. Anyway, it all gets under his skin because he pays attention to all of it because he is such a narcissistically wounded child. It's quite something. Confused philosopher. Question. If Donald was in a Star Trek movie, would its title be Wrath of Kant or Star Trek 3, The Search for Epstein? I kind of like The Search for Epstein myself. Yeah, that's what I'd go. That's what I'd go with, for sure. Metal Mark 12. Question. How panicked do you think Donald is about the Epstein situation? Extraordinarily panicked because how do we know this? He keeps talking about it. He keeps talking about what a hoax it is. He keeps talking about it's the Democrats' fault. He keeps bringing it up. It's very self-defeating, but it's also fun for us to remember that this is a scandal entirely of his own making, and it's kind of fun. And his base actually cares about it. It's not still an issue because you and I care or talk about it or because Democrats talk about it. It's still an issue because Donald's own base cares about it. And the more he denies it and the more he tries to cover it up, the worse it is going to be for him, which means the better it's going to be for us. Nacho's mom, question: how do we know that the Epstein information is safe and not going to disappear? I've thought about that a lot, and I don't have a definitive answer for you, but my only guess is that there are so many copies, so many safeguards, that it's not like it's just one file exists and Pam Bondi can set it on fire. Excuse me, I must hydrate. Gen X Nomadic, question: what is your best guess on why so many congressmen support him? I'm more confused as his actions become more obviously disturbed. Well, because I think they fall into three categories. True believers who were, who would be, if they weren't in Congress, they would be voters in the base, right? So people like Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Greene, James Comer, people who are just like conspiracy theorists, QAnon people, they're just all in and they will buy whatever Donald sells them. Then there are the people who are just in it for their own power or the grift or just want to be in close proximity to power. People like Matt Gaetz, remember him? Mike Johnson speaks. So I think in some ways they're worse because they know what's going on, but they don't care because they want something, and it's power or both. Oh, and influence maybe. And then in the third category are just the cowards who are afraid. They're afraid because they might get death threats or they might lose their reelection bid. Yes, like Donald will threaten to primary them and Elon Musk will bankroll the person who runs against them or what have you. Those just abject cowards who've essentially created the conditions in which, by standing up for what's right, for standing up for their constituents, by standing up for democracy, might get death threats from the guy they've supported for a decade. Poor babies. Poor babies. I have no patience with cowards like that. You stand up, you do the right thing, even if it costs you. And trust me, it can. Danissa, question: does that mean we shouldn't get behind people like Green who are so focused on Epstein? I want to give Marjorie Taylor Greene the benefit of the doubt, unless show me otherwise. It doesn't mean you don't get. It doesn't mean you don't encourage them, right? That's different from giving them credit for something. Like, why should anybody get credit for wanting to reveal the truth about a potential trafficker of girls and young women, or co-conspirator, or somebody who conspired with a rapist and sex trafficker of girls? Like, she doesn't get credit for that. No, let's stand by. Let her keep doing it. I just mean that, you don't help the Republicans keep the government open so that you get your way on something, when by keeping the government open, you're essentially allowing the Republicans to continue their authoritarian fascist takeover of American democracy. That's what I mean. Also, again, it normalizes. Like, the Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't going to stop demanding the release of the Epstein files because of anything Democrats do. She's not going to continue demanding the release of the Epstein files because of anything Democrats do. In that case, we just step back and let her keep going. Because again, she believed Donald when he told his base that there was information in the Epstein files implicating those at the upper echelons of the Democratic Party. He promised he was going to bring down all the globalists. And clearly he lied, and now they want to know. Has nothing to do with us. Mission Road 100, question: what does Donald think of the United Nations, and we pull America out of it? He has no use for the United Nations. His national security advisor, John Bolton, essentially said that it would be totally fine with him if the top 7 floors of the UN building in New York City were destroyed. No, the Republicans are basically anti-United Nations. Now, don't get me wrong, the United Nations is a problematic organization, and it desperately needs to be fixed, but I think its mission is a good one. It just has the wrong people. It has a lot of the wrong people in it, and honestly, it's structured poorly. Gives way too much power to problematic members like Hungary and Russia, etc. I don't know if he'll pull us out of the United Nations. I'm much more worried about what he's going to be doing with NATO. PB, Donald likes to threaten our neighboring countries that he might come in militarily or just force Canadian leadership to bend the knee to capitalism and cancel their social programs to reward the rich. Yeah. Yep. Yes, it's all about forcing everybody to accept his own benighted idea of how the world should work, which is a zero-sum game, all organized around enriching the already obscenely wealthy. Ariozone, question, Mary, do you think there's any possibility Robert Kennedy could resign or be impeached? I think it's highly unlikely he'll resign. He won't be. I think it's highly unlikely he'll be impeached because Republicans control the House. But his behavior is increasingly unhinged and dangerous, and it's going to have a more negative impact on red states and the constituents of Republicans in the House. So I don't know. But it's not. I don't think it's impossible that he get impeached. He is a danger to humanity, quite frankly. But in particular, he's a danger to our children. And I'd like to think at least a handful of Republicans still care about things like that. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it, but you never know. $1 million educator comment. Mary, thanks for all that you do. You're welcome. With MAGA getting behind the idea of Donald 2028, assuming he's still alive, how do you think things will play out? Will Donald try to stay in power or will Vance run? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, if Donald is able to stay in power, he will. He'll do anything to stay in power. The only question is, will he be viable? And, will he still be in office, or will Vance have taken over? Obviously, if Vance is president before 2020, he will run. He will likely lose unless the Republicans manage to fix things. But no, the only question about whether or not Donald runs in 2028 is, one, if he's around, and two, if he's up for it. Susan, thank you so very much. Susan, incredible. Comment, Mary, thank you for an awesome Trump Trolls Trump. You made this community so happy by not hitting your fits of laughter. We need the levity. You rock well. Thank you very much. Honestly, all I did was laugh uncontrollably. So, but I hope you guys found it amusing. I love doing it, and yeah, it just the way it's really fun, and I am very glad you all enjoy it. Kendra, a super sticker. Thank you as always. That is awesome. Ratso B. Harris, question. Would you take a position in Donald's cabinet if one was offered? Well, that's a hypothetical. That will never happen, obviously, but no, I would not. Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? I mean, especially given the fact that the people who are chosen to run the agencies he appoints them to, or they're confirmed for, their mission is to destroy that agency. And that's kind of not my thing. That would be wild, though. Ben, thank you very, very much, Ben. Question: did you see his speech in the Rose Garden Club recently? You mean the new parking lot by the Oval Office that used to be the Rose Garden? He seemed cognitively worse than usual. He doesn't often go public as late as it was. Would like to know if you see a difference. I haven't seen it yet, but I will definitely take a look. And I mean, that aside, yes, I've noticed a huge difference in his appearance and his presentation. So it doesn't surprise me. I mean, there is a point at which things just unravel more and more quickly. So I'm pretty sure we're there. SFL, Canada, in the house. Question: Mary, are you going to see Kamala on tour as her new book comes out? No, I am not. I have issues with how things have played out since the election in November. Although what I will say is that aside, because that's irrelevant. Donald, as you may know, canceled Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection, which is grotesque and dangerous. And I truly hope that replacements are found because she needs to be protected at all costs. Mighty Cheryl, thank you so very much. Question: do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene ruined her relationship with Donald? Probably, but also Laura Loomer, who for reasons I do not understand, is in Donald's inner circle and has huge influence over him. Laura Loomer hates Marjorie Taylor Greene, so even if Marjorie Taylor Greene did everything right, I think she would be on the outs with Donald because of Laura Loomer, who, by the way, is a bigoted Islamophobe and conspiracy theorist. And the fact that she gets anywhere, like within a billion light years of the Oval Office, should terrify all of us. Ben, thank you so very, very much. Ben, comment: Donald hates RFK. RFK is not out of central casting, as Donald would say. Well, he probably used to be, I suppose. But I don't know. I don't know. He's clearly doing absolutely nothing to stop him. So that's the only thing that matters to me. Whether it likes him or not, he's not stopping him. And Brant Weiler, thank you so much, Brant. Question: did Donald ever use the subway bus as a kid? Probably, but not as much as the rest of us. Like my dad and Aunt Marianne, who are the two oldest, took the subway everywhere. I started taking the subway to school when I was like 11. And I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure Donald got driven in my grandfather's chauffeur-driven limousine to school. I could be wrong, but I mean, I know he took the subway like into the city and stuff when he was a kid, but not all the time. Like the rest of us, that's how we got around. We took the subway, and once in a while our parents would drive us. But no, Donald was more of a chauffeur-driven limousine kid, which was not normal back in the day. All right, guys, that does it for us tonight. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your patience as I did do this solo. Because sometimes people need a night off. We'll be back tomorrow night for Mary Trump Live at 6 p.m. Eastern. So in the meantime, thank you for everybody watching on YouTube, streaming on Twitter, and my Substack, The Good Enough. Everybody listening to the podcast, to all of our new members, everybody gifting memberships, everybody donating, all of our super stickers. Thank you so very, very much. Truly. YouTube is kicking us in the teeth a little bit these days. So every bit of help helps. That's kind of poorly phrased, but you know what I mean. We're this close. We've been this close for far too long to 460,000, I think. So let's try to get us over that. I mean, we really want to get to 500,000, 500,000, but again, something's up with algorithm, but that doesn't mean we're going anywhere. We're just going to keep plugging away and your support helps us tremendously. So thank you, and to all of our great moderators for making this such an amazing place, and to my incredible team for all of their phenomenal work, sometimes under difficult circumstances, I have to say. So, everybody, thank you. I will see you tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget, we have videos dropping every single day in addition to the lives. So check those out, like them, share them, comment on them. That helps a lot too. And in the meantime, please stay safe and be kind. Have a great night, everybody.